Hey, Jeremy Lee here, voice of Makoto in Persona 5, and I am so excited that you found your way here to the Raw Dogs podcast because as a fellow cheesehead and a lover of all things Wisconsin, how can you not want to hang out with these guys who are spreading their love of gaming and making the world a brighter, more positive, definitely more fun place. So check it out, hang out for a while, and enjoy the Raw Dogs podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to a very Persona 5 Christmas special episode of Raw Dogs.
Persona 5.
Your cat just tried to grab my ass. Literally, like put his paw right in my butt crack.
I'm just gonna put Mona talking about the tender touch of a soft butt.
That sounds good.
There, yes.
I can feel it. The tender touch of a soft butt.
Welcome everyone. This is the Christmas special episode. You are of course joined by the Raw Dogs. I'm one of your main hosts here. I'm Brad. Across the table here is
don't say my real name. It's the Phantom Thief Horse.
Horse is your code name?
Yes.
So good.
Yep. I'm here to steal your heart.
All right, that's Horse we have over there. Who is the Phantom Thief to my right?
This is Dominic.
What is your thief name?
Oh, God, you're putting me on the spot here. I'm Robin Hood.
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
I don't think he's in there, right?
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
Koro Akechi has
Yeah,
Robin Hood.
He's a persona.
But that's not his code name.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What is his? What was his code?
How about Lil John?
Little John. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'll go Little John.
Little John. Yeah. How about this fellow over here?
Hi, my name's Tom. I'm here on the Raw Dogs episode. I don't really have a persona. Hudson Hawk is my
Hudson Hawk.
Hudson Hawk.
Is this a reference to an older video game?
Yes, it was a video game. Yeah. But no, I'm Tom. I'm on Hair of the Dogcast.
Mr. Nick Nellen, what's going on, dog?
Just a whole lot of nada, really. I'm so excited to talk about this game. It is one of my favorites that's ever been made ever. So, yeah, I'm excited to get into the meat of this one.
Do you have a code name for yourself?
I mean, I had more time to think than everyone else, so I'm just going to go with Raven because it's what my last name means in a different language. But yeah.
Ah, cool.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. And for mine, I know that they're all based on kind of like mythological type cool figures, so I'm going to go Jar Jar Binks for mine.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a famous character.
Misa like that.
You just have one of those like Pizza Hut, like a Pizza Hut mask.
I have the Pizza Hut cup right back there next to Turbo Man.
Oh man!
There it is. Oh wow!
And
Brad's kind of a '90s kid.
Yeah, kind of. And we have one of the Phantom Thieves himself here. We have Ryuji. Thanks for joining us.
For real, I still got no idea how this whole thing works.
Hey, Ryuji.
Yeah, man, it's nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, I get you. Some people just seem like they ain't got a soul.
And I feel like every minute I've spent with all four of you has led to me finally playing this game.
I know that I have recommended it to you gently a handful of times.
You offered, I said that I was going to pick up the base game because it was so cheap, and I just said I was going to buy you, like, I will pay you the difference to get Royal instead.
Yeah. I would have just bought you the game, honestly.
Shit, man.
Yeah, and that inspired me to buy Royal that day. Dylan, of course, has been telling me to get it for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Tom made me watch him play the dancing game for a little bit, so...
You loved every second of it.
Yeah, the thing is, you don't have to actually do the dance moves while you're playing it, Tom. It was kind of odd.
Well, when you go ahead.
No, it's in me, Brad. That's what I do.
Dancing
You
in
can't
starlight.
stop me. I will dance in all the starlights.
Well, here's the thing: when you hang out with Tom, it's just watching him like smoke a bong and then play dancing all night.
Dude, you get so high and
Nice.
play dancing all night.
Hey,
And
rhythm
then
games
you're
are
just like,
great.
can we do something else? And you're like, no, we can't. We can't do anything.
Let's watch The Room.
Yeah, dude.
I'm sorry.
Wild movie, man.
It's either Dancing in Starlight or we watch The Room. Yeah.
I'm going to just make the quick announcement that last night I got engaged.
Whoa, for real?
Congratulations.
Hey.
When I found out that Aunt Takamaki wasn't a real person, I decided Carly was going to be my real life wife.
Oh, boy. Nice.
Don't tell her I said that.
Great work. Great work.
'Cause, yeah, the other night she was working with Nick, and she's like, Nick said you guys are going to be talking about your waifus the entire time. She's like, I'm glad I'm not going to be there.
Now she's your waifu.
She's my laifu.
That's right.
Wowee.
Well,
love it.
congrats, Brad. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Proud
Thank
of you
you.
guys. Happy for you guys.
Yep.
Special thanks to Patreon supporters Mark Nenow, Judge Tempest, and Kodolk. These are the executive producers who help make this show possible. And thanks to all the other Patreon supporters. Special reminder to our fans that you can choose the next topic of one of our episodes if you so choose to. The next supporter at the $10 range, I'm going to go ahead and say you can choose the next Raw Dogs topic. So we're going to give you a deal, and it's a little cheaper than
Anything?
usual. Anything.
It's a Christmas miracle.
The weirder, the better.
It's a miracle.
Honestly, yeah. I want to make Brad really uncomfortable, so you can make it as gross and as dirty as you want.
We encourage
Boy.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Things are always
I mean,
uncomfortable
Nick
with Raw
will
Dogs.
he'll just have to deal with it.
I mean, I'll have fun, but
So I thought we would go over some of the quick facts about Persona 5 before we start just getting into the fun nitty-gritty. Developed by P Studio, an internal development studio inside Atlas. Preparatory work began in 2008. Full development began in 2011 after the release of Catherine Full Body. First announced in 2013, however, it was released in Japan September 15th, 2016, and USA April 4th, 2017. It is part of an offshoot of the Shin Megami Tensei series. Tensei?
Tensei, yeah.
Tensei. And just some of the major creative staff that definitely need to be praised. Katsura Hashino is the director, co-writer, and producer. He also directed and produced Personas 3 and 4, which I know we have strong feelings about.
Yes, we do.
Scenario writers Shinji Mamamoto and Yuichiro Tanaka, and the composer of Personas 3, 4, and 5,
praise be.
Shoji Meguro. Praise be.
Praise be.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To help us have a little bit understanding of the background here, would one of you like to tell us a little bit about the Shin Megami Tensei series? Whoever has some experience.
Now, Nick, I'm not sure how many of these you've played.
So honestly, I've only lightly dabbled in any of the other Shin Megami Tensei series games, other than 3, 4, and 5. Persona 3, 4, and 5. I've fooled around in Nocturne. I've not really played the game. It's a dungeon collecting, or it's a demon collecting, dungeon crawling type game. The combat system is really fun. That's probably where it shines the most. But if you have more experience, please.
I have played Nocturne, Shin Megami Tensei 3, and I have also played Shin Megami Tensei 4 on the Nintendo 3DS, which is a very good game. It's very difficult, a little esoteric. Persona is very much inspired by the idea that they wanted to make it a little more popular.
Yes.
It has less heavy subject matter. It usually revolves around one specific theme, and it usually has to deal with kind of this shonen kind of bishojo
absolutely.
kind of idea of like it's coming of age. It's like being seen, feeling like an outcast. A lot of that stuff tends to play into the storylines, and I really love it because it gives you a break from what can be a series of very, very dark and brutal plot points.
Yeah.
So, and the Shin Megami Tensei series came before, and then they jumped into the Persona series as an offshoot. Now, I think the majority of our listeners will only have played 5. A large number will have played 4 and maybe 3. Have either of you done any research into 1 or 2?
So 1 and 2 were put out by different creators. So the feel of them is a very, very different game.
Because one of them I was watching, I think it might have been the first one, where it's like the hallways almost look kind of like a Doom hallway that you're navigating through.
Yeah. It's I
Point
mean,
and
that
click
was
room type thing.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
the like roguelite type thing where you've got like changing dungeons every time you interact with them. You're getting these randomized hallways and stuff like that, which can make it both fresh and stale. For the people that have played Persona 5, most Persona dungeons are just mementos. That's it.
Because before 5 it was mostly all randomly generated.
Yes.
Yeah, which I actually appreciate a little bit more. I like an experience that can feel different each and every time you deal with it.
Absolutely.
That's what I was talking to Tom as we were driving here, and I was saying, like, I really liked. Actually, most of the time I stay completely silent and I just stare straight ahead.
Save it for the podcast.
you gotta get in the zone.
But I was saying, I think I remember 4 more because 4 is a game that I knew I could go back to the moment I finished it. Because there were things you can do in the meantime and weird little story-based decisions that really have kind of real ramifications.
Yeah.
And in 5, it's so dynamic and popcorny that I was immediately like sucked in. And then, like I said earlier, I just I forgot about a lot of it.
So what are the threads, I guess, that the Persona games share with the Shin Megami Tensei
Go ahead, Dom.
series?
So I actually,
at large?
I do know this one. There's really not too much crossover. Like when you have the Pokemon series, for example, when you have like Mystery Dungeon and Pokemon Snap and the regular Pokemon franchise, really the
smile and
only
nod here.
crossover is the actual Pokemon. So in this sense, it's really just the demons and shadows or whatever that are sharing the universe.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like enemies.
Every once in a while, they'll sneak like something in. The poster that you can get in your room in P5 is of one of the characters from P4.
Yeah.
There are little things that you hear and you're just like, oh, if you're a super fan, you're just like, oh my god, this is like
Okay, like
because they are in the
like
same
an audio sizzle or something.
They're in
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
universe, P1 through 5, right?
It's not explicitly stated.
Because I know like some of the characters from P4, you can see like their posters also in the subway.
So
Like
they're
they have a career or something.
Yep.
yeah, and
That's the exact one that I'm talking about, actually.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken,
Where you say Kujikawa.
Catherine is actually in the same universe because in 3 or 4 you go into some bar and
think
there's
it's 4.
It's 4 and there's a guy sitting at the bar who's talking about
He's like the main character in Catherine. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure that's in
yeah.
the bar. And it was before Catherine had come out, which was kind of different.
right.
Atlas does a lot of that type of stuff where they try and weave things in. They do a lot of their own like self-referential stuff, which for fans is great, and for non-fans it's nothing. Which I always appreciate those types of things where it's just like a wink and a nod.
I think it can't be expressed more that there's a subsection of gamers who actually are huge Atlas stans.
Yes.
Anything that they publish, apparently, like they can do no wrong. Like
Demon Souls, come on.
yeah, I mean, yeah, shit, go for it. Fuck you, Blue Point. Yeah, and they tend to produce very similar types of games, or they became known as the niche Japanese developed RPG producer in America.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of people in the United States who are just across the world who are just ravenous for this type of content, including me.
And I was going to say, admittedly, I'm one of them because their storytelling is phenomenal, and the gameplay mechanics that they introduce into their games. I'm really looking forward to the popularity that Persona 4 Golden got on Steam, because I think that means that a lot of their games that previously kind of fell to the wayside might see some love. I would love to see a Persona 3 remake with all of the quality of life improvements of Persona 5.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that game would be heralded as one of the best of all time. I mean, P3 is already fantastic.
Right.
But
Nobody's played it, really.
Yeah. It might happen. I mean, Sega owns Atlas. They just came out with, or the whole Yakuza series basically got remastered.
which I need to play this JRPG Yakuza. I
yeah,
haven't
me
gotten
too.
to play it yet.
I wonder why they're
It's,
so afraid to release it. I guess that's my main question because it can't take that much to up-res and kind of do that type of situation.
I think they're waiting to be able to truly remake it.
I know that this is going to be a major year, 2021, as far as a big anniversary for the franchise.
Sure.
And they've said that there's going to be a lot of announcements coming this year in regards to Persona games. So, I mean, maybe they're going to announce just like a quick remastered version, and then that'd be cool to have a full-fledged remake of something as well, because people are ravenous for Persona now.
Yeah.
Although if a game takes 8 years to come out, or like from fruition to coming out, we all know how a rushed game can go for those playing Cyberpunk right now.
Well,
Too soon.
Well, infamously, this game was scrapped multiple times. Because in 2008, 4 came out, like the first version of 4, and after that, they pretty much started like the concepts and development right away. And obviously, they had Catherine in between, but that's a puzzle platformer.
Yeah.
Like,
what did you play Catherine?
yeah, I played Catherine.
So it's a puzzle, like box moving.
Kind of.
game?
And you're trying to climb the tower of these platform boxes, and you're trying to reach the top within a specific amount of time because there are things kind of clawing at you from the bottom. So it's fine. It's also half visual novel / maybe an entire anime.
It absolutely is.
And
Like,
Persona 5, one of the reasons I was afraid to get into this game is because everyone's like, it's going to be 100 hours. And that's a daunting task because, you know, every other RPG I've played, if I'm 100%ing it, it's 60 hours. And that's me going in for the extra content.
Right.
I think one way that they make the story, at least in P5, which I haven't played the other ones, but with P5, they structured it kind of like an omnibus where there is like this main chapter, this is the villain for like this chapter, and there's like a certain number of things that'll happen throughout this month or 2-month period. And that it's a bunch of like mini arcs inside of like a grand arc where all the villains are tied together, you find out later, but it grows very organically. I played 125 hours, I think was my first playthrough, and there wasn't a moment that I wasn't just enjoying, and it was going along like a breeze. It was great.
Yeah. It kind of got towards the end a little too much for me, where I did feel a lot of fatigue. A lot of that extends from you played a version apparently where they fixed a lot of things that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Especially like how Morgana told you to go to bed almost every other day.
She does tell you to go to bed a lot in Royal, though, too.
Morgana's a boy.
Yeah.
Sounds like
I'm going to do
voice
that.
actress, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to say that on multiple
Mona-chan.
occasions.
As much as Morgana said that in Royal, you still got to hang around the cafe and do something.
You could study, you could clean, you could
every
play video
single
games.
day that you were locked into the cafe was a day where Morgana used to just tell you to go to bed.
It's which really like this was a huge complaint from a lot of people because 4 was legitimately like it's a direct RPG. It's like you get these time frames, and within each of these time frames, you're allowed to do like a very specific thing, and you get to have that choice. And I was kind of just like, well, what's the point in keeping me here?
4 did lock you in for a bit,
does.
but they did it cleverly where you could still sneak out when Dad wasn't home and stuff like that. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
It was a much more open, like free game. Yes.
And Dylan, to your point, how you said that you just kind of wanted it to be over towards the end of it. I kind of felt the same way. There came a point where, there was just this limit that I reached, and I loved the game. And finally, I just said, all right, you need to be done now, because I put in 120 hours on my first playthrough, and that wasn't even Royal. So, you know.
If there was a down point, I think it'd be the Okamura spaceship.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes. I almost quit for a couple weeks at that one.
Those puzzles are a little asinine.
Yes.
I liked the bank one. A lot of people don't like.
Kanashiro's.
A lot of people don't like the bank one. I found that to be kind of like reinvigorating. Otherwise, that first dungeon is just so memorable.
Yeah, they blew their load on the
I know.
first dungeon, absolutely. But they also blew their load on the first villain. I mean, come on. Yeah,
Well, I think he blew his load, if you know what I mean.
Dude,
Hey.
phrasing. I know what you mean, but freezing.
So some core concepts for kind of what the game is built around. I mean, the metaverse is at the heart of all of it. Personas are physical manifestations of our psyches, and our main characters are able to access the metaverse through a smartphone app, and then they can tap into their personas, which they're similar to a shadow. Like, this is all very Jungian. It's all based on a lot of Jungian concepts, but shadows are malevolent manifestations of one's inner thoughts. And the shadows are kind of what are ruling these mind palaces that they wind up going into. This sounds like gobbledygook for anyone who hasn't played the game.
I was going to say, we also should probably put a disclaimer here. Persona is just as confusing as Nier. Like, it gets just as like, oh my goodness, occasionally.
I think it's got less like concrete allusions to philosophy, where Persona just like put all of the references in, and it's not as pointed.
It's all art.
The Mind Palaces, I think, have a lot of one-to-one comparisons to the Seven Deadly Sins for sure.
Yeah.
And there is some grand philosophical concepts, but Nier's smoking another kind of weed.
Very different. I just mean as far as the like, oh my gosh, this is weird. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's out there.
The conceits are both relatively tame, but it's how they go about it. I would say Nier towards the end it plays with the conceit to a point where it all becomes very confusing, even to people who might know a lot of these concepts. But in Persona 5, it's literally like, this represents their headspace. We get to the end, we destroy their illusion of themselves in order to free them from that kind of grasp and make them truthful. There's a bit more of like a, here you go, aspect to it.
So yeah, we wind up going into Mind Palaces. Those are like the big dungeons, and they have kind of different theming to them. These are manifestations of strong, negative, or corrupt thoughts. And so if you're a major raging pedophile volleyball coach, you might have a castle mind palace.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's considered, well, never mind.
Yep. Go for it.
In Japan, the age of consent is a lot lower. It's still considered creepy, though.
So it's a lot less weird, like in Futaba in Japan.
It's still a bad power dynamic thing.
It's okay to bang your students?
That's what I said. I said it's a bad power dynamic thing, definitely. I think that's not okay. Let's be clear.
It didn't stop me from banging my teacher. That's all.
Hey!
Fuck, I wish.
She's wearing that maid outfit. What are you going to do?
Sorry. I'm so sorry to hear
That's what I'm
that
saying.
Mary Kay passed. Laterno. She's a famous teacher who fucked her student.
I got it, Dylan. I know.
I thought it was a good joke.
And that's Dylan's Christmas story corner.
Stay tuned. Next episode, we talk about Joey Buttafuoco.
Tom, could you explain what the Velvet Room is?
Oh, Sarah was asking me this the other day. She was like, what is this Igor dude's deal? Like, who is he? But essentially what it is when you go to sleep at night, you go into this dream world where he's telling you that you need to go through your rehabilitation of basically working your way up to becoming this ultimate being that will be able to squash any person's heart that has wrongdoing in it. Mm-hmm. And he walks you through how to manipulate the shadows in order to make them beneficial for your journey throughout that.
And in this game, it is a prison.
Correct.
And you find out later on that the Igor we think we're talking to isn't the Igor from prior games. And I know a lot of people, since his voice is different, they are speculating maybe it's because the voice actor had passed away that they have a different voice actor for Igor now. We find out later on that isn't the case. What are your thoughts on Igor, Dylan?
I think he kind of plays into this really fun kind of folk tale archetype of the crone that visits you in your sleep.
Yeah.
I don't like there's this idea that like people who had sleep paralysis in like years when that wasn't something that people could explain away, oftentimes it would be an old woman lurching above you, like in your face. And he kind of represents that, making
you fight your volleyball coach.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. But he's he's very intriguing and interesting. He's kind of just meant to be like the shop where you upgrade.
Yeah, it's kind of like your little base, and you can work on your personas there. So, since you guys had played Persona before, did you think it was fishy that Igor was in a prison and that it was kind of built that way?
Oh, right away, I was just like, no, this isn't good. This isn't right.
I didn't know. I thought it was a thematic choice because in early promotional material for Persona 5, it's like balls and chains strapped to like school desks.
Yeah.
And so I said to myself, I'm like, oh, they're just going through like the rebelling and breaking out of prisons and being a quote unquote criminal for the sake of good. I didn't think twice about it because it had been so long since I played 4. So I was like, I don't know. People change voice actors all the fucking time.
It was such a stark change, though, because I suppose other people could disagree. I always thought that Igor's appearance was unsettling, but his voice was that of like a gentleman.
Yeah.
Like, and then he comes at me with this super distorted, like, it was
Prisoner.
We'll
put his voice in.
You certainly seem composed. How goes the rehabilitation?
And that was just, for me, that was like an immediate red flag where I was like, there's something up. It wasn't enough for me to be like, oh, yeah, no, Igor's the big bag of evil, because I'd have also been playing these games, and you never fight Igor.
Yeah, really. I think from what I was reading, he's originally a doll handmade by a mysterious person, which gives me some Bloodborne vibes a little bit there.
So he was made by a god that you deal with in the earlier Persona games. I've read wikis. I don't actually know.
Oh, this is great. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Essentially, there's always going to be a big evil god.
Yeah, which in this one actually feels quite ham-fisted.
I like what Yaldabaoth ultimately represents.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if for most of the time, it's that character it's technically a presence, but it's not one of those things where you know who the villain is the entire time. Like you said, Brad, it's all like chapter based. They want you to focus on dealing with all of these people in society, these adults who do all the worst things for the wrong reasons.
And you told me multiple times, like, this Persona 4 is about this theme, and Persona 5 is, I think you always said rebellion.
It's like casting off your shackles and being yourself.
Fuck adults.
Freedom.
And also your teacher, fuck adults.
Yeah.
I love the very specifically Persona 3, 4, and 5 follow a trend of they choose a color and they base the entire game.
Blue, yellow, red.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it's been.
There's a lot of red in this game.
So much red.
All over. I mean, Joker's hands are literally stained red anytime he assumes his Phantom Thief persona.
Yeah.
Because he can't, that's something that society has labeled on him, is that his hands are marked red with what Shido accused him of.
That, and also when you rip your mask off, just vast amounts of blood fly everywhere.
Well, in 3, you blow your brains
You
out with a
literally
gun.
shoot yourself to summon your persona.
So I know that me and Nick have played Persona 5 Royal, which we haven't mentioned before yet. It is like a version of the game that came out in 2020 with a lot of changes.
That was
some
still
subtle,
this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long year, man.
It's also been a quick year.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
There's a whole new semester. There's a new villain. There's a new love interest who may or may not be pretending to be her dead twin sister.
Oh, spoilers.
Oh, by the way, spoilers in this episode.
Sorry, you're actually playing it right now.
yeah,
I'm outta here.
that's okay.
But it won't ruin anything.
It's not that big.
It really doesn't change anything.
And yeah, there's some other things. But one of the other things you can do in the Velvet Room besides fusing personas or executing them for stuff is there is like a challenge battle area. And 2 of the challenge battles, at least in Royal, are the protagonists from 3 and 4. And it was fun fighting the guy from 3 because he actually shoots himself in the head. I'm like, Dylan told me about this guy.
Oh, yeah, man.
Man, I
get the reference.
I love Darkoon. He's amazing. That's a very deep cut. He like the whole idea of P3 is kind of finding purpose in life. P4's like major theme is pursuing the truth and finding your own truth.
Yep.
And then obviously we've all gone through P5 and how that is discovering how to obtain your own freedom. Those are like the key themes between those games, but like it's really about coming into yourself. Each Persona game is about like
Or coming into your teacher.
You're like a drunk old perf.
depends on how you play the games, and P4 doesn't give you that option. So
I don't even, man, usually I got like a teacher thing. And this time, like I was like in 4, I'm just like, oh man, no teachers? Damn. Shit.
So we briefly talked about the mind palaces, and if there's like a particularly corrupt individual with a lot of power, they might manifest this mind palace. And then there's also mementos, which is kind of like the collective unconscious, where all of like negative thoughts create a subway system. And that's another that's the procedurally generated part of the
Yes.
game. It's where you can also go spend extra time to go grind and level up your characters.
Which I actually found to be the most entertaining part of the game.
And you've not played Royal at all?
No.
That's hilarious because they made
I will eventually. It's
they made Mementos so much better in Royal.
I just like a good dungeon crawl. I like getting all the items I need to survive it and getting just as far as I can. That was my favorite part about 4 is you would go into it's the television. I forget what they call it. The Midnight Channel. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. There we go. And just seeing how far I could get in each one of these dungeons, and there'd be times where I'd be like, if I finish this, I can study tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I can study the day after, and I don't have to worry about all this combat anymore.
Well, that and running back through every
like
dungeon
real
to
life.
get just that little bit more courage.
Yep.
You just need that little bit more courage. It was the hardest
Absolutely.
stat to level up, and those bosses were ferocious.
I seem to recall having a lot of trouble with the last boss in 4. Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
I only had issues with one boss in all of Persona 5, and it was Okamura in the spaceship. At least in Royal, they
That one's
really
weird.
Well,
They
they
boosted
punish you extremely hard if you're not like using the right affinities and baton passes specifically perfect. Because if you don't beat them in one round, they all regenerate, and you run out of SP real fast. And I died like 5 times. Otherwise, I only died one time before because I didn't realize that if your main character like faints, it's just game over.
done.
Because like if Tom died right now, I know all of us would just be like, well, that's it, we're done.
It was expected.
Yeah.
Grab a shovel.
Yeah.
Podcast is over.
That is the one thing I absolutely despise of the battle mechanic is when you die as Joker, it's
Joker
just
dies.
like game over. And it's like, well, we're all sharing the same items and we all literally have health like magic. So it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Mona just like lost the will to cast heal.
Right. Even though she's just cowering behind a bench
She's
right
just,
behind
we're going to
you.
do this whole time.
Did I say she?
Yeah.
It's okay. Don't worry.
We love Mona so
Blame,
much.
It's not that big of a deal.
blame it on the voice actress. That's what it is.
Blame it on the voice acting.
It's also got a very, it's kind of like a cute, like when you pair something cute with it being like feminine and it's a cat, a lot of people have that mentality. Dogs are boys, cats are girls.
Yeah.
I like that there's even a discussion. They all say, what gender do you think Morgana is?
I said
I think
bus.
it's a boy. Yeah, I say it's a bus.
Right. Well, he even comes out and says like, guys, I'm a man.
Yeah.
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 Not a fucking cat.
Yeah.
Ryuji, you dick. Like every 5
Every
seconds,
time.
Ryuji, you goddamn piece of shit.
Damn it, I don't want to know about that crap.
Briefly mentioning kind of where the story came from. Originally, they were thinking about having the story being about backpacking around the world and self-discovery. But after the earthquake in Japan in 2011, the government and public's response kind of dictated that the setting was going to be Japan for the director. Theme is freedom, based loosely on 3 stories. Lazarillo de Torme, a Spanish novel. Hakuchuu no Shikoku, it's a Japanese crime movie, which is pretty, I looked into it, it sounds pretty cool. And then Water Margin, which is also what Suikoden is based on, a classic Chinese novel. And heavy inspiration from Arsène Lupin? Arsène Lupin III. And the thought was how he might function in modern society. That's kind of who Joker
That's
is.
what Lupin the Third is, though.
Yep.
But whatever.
Which is great as well.
It is entertaining.
Let's talk about. There's 3 core gameplay mechanics that kind of everything falls under. There is turn-based RPG, there is dungeon crawling, and then there's social simulation. Tom, would you tell us a little bit about social simulation in Persona?
Well, this is the part of the game that I really enjoyed the most, I think, is just building up your relationships and your confidant levels with all of your party members. So that is a huge part of the game. When you're not in school and you're not beating baddies and, student molesting teachers, you are hanging out with your buds and not just your party members, but also people in the community, prominent members.
Former politicians.
You got a
Disgraced
shady,
doctors.
pharmacist, a weird fortune teller lady,
A drunk reporter.
I love. Oh yeah, is that her name? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who did you romance? Oh no.
And yeah, so that is. I really enjoyed that aspect of the game, and that comprises a large amount of the game, and I think that's why people really get drawn to the characters. And now I don't know if it was the same in Persona 4 or previous Personas, but I mean that's what really drew me in and made me a fan of all the characters.
The character writing in the Persona series, it's top notch. I'm trying to draw another example that I genuinely, truly could compare it to, and just because of how closely knit the character progression is with these social links, it just feels so much more weighty, so much more rewarding to go and do these things. Most of the time, you're just going to get a bit of story. Some of these things are no less than essential to make your playthrough enjoyable.
Absolutely. And especially Joker being an outcast coming into the city, staying with your uncle or
Sojiro.
He's a family friend.
Just a good dude.
He's a dude.
All I know is that dude probably fucks a lot from what he says anyways. I usually don't put men's numbers in my phone. It's like, okay, dude, I'm living with you I'm living at your coffee shop. Just put my number in there regardless.
Also
Everybody's
weird that
horny.
he has a 14-year-old just shoved away in his closet or something like that.
For very good reasons, though, because he was
Yeah.
essentially going to marry Futaba's mom,
Right.
until the incident happens. But yeah, I could see social services having good reason to be like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. She doesn't go to school, and she
You don't
never.
have to after 8th grade.
What is the term? Inari, something like that.
No, it's hold on. It is hikikomori.
Going to
Shudder.
our Japanese analysts for this one.
Judges will allow it.
We'll allow it.
It's just 3 10s. It's like,
But-
you got it.
I thought it was very, very important to the story. And as an RPG trope, being a loner, I mean, it worked perfectly for me.
There is, at every point throughout the game, you feel the passage of time. And it starts off at the beginning. You might have the afternoon after school. You can choose to spend time with Ryuji. You can go work your job if you want to get a job. You can go to the batting cages. You can go to the bathhouse. But you can only choose one thing initially that evening. If it's the weekend, you can do 2 things. And then eventually you'll unlock the ability to go out at night as well. But you have to choose what you're going to spend your time on, build up your confidence for they can unlock new abilities or different things can happen. And I started this started affecting the way I was functioning in the real world. So I had the afternoon off. I'm like, do I text Dylan or do I take a bath?
What does the bath get you? Right.
Dylan and I could have beers, which is fun, but a bath might make me charming.
You're already charming.
Yes.
Hey. Another big aspect of the social simulation is the social stats, because early on, you're not charming, you're not proficient, you're not kind, you have no guts and no knowledge.
Yep.
And you build these up through
Eating hamburgers.
eating fucking burgers, maybe playing video games.
But seriously, eat the burgers. It's low key the best way to build your stats.
Big Bang, you'll get every stat boost with each burger, and they get bigger and bigger. So
I really like that if you start going there enough, they start to comment on your eating habits, and they're like, "Oh, your mom doesn't make you food."
I think there's a point where you go there so much that they just don't serve you anymore. There's no way to actually max out anymore. There.
Yeah, it is. It's a way to. I remember figuring that out early on, and I tried to cheese it, and I'm pretty sure they're just like. They're like, "You're here again? Come on."
Something like that.
For real, dude.
For real?
So you're feeling this time crunch pretty much every day. And not only do I want to make these stats better in order to unlock this next stage of this confidant or be able to do this, do you want to just go spend time with confidants? Do you want to study? Because you can also better your stats that way. But besides all that, eventually you're also getting these Mind Palace deadlines where Kamoshida will start doing your expulsion at this date. Kaneshiro might be publishing photos of you in a bar, and you might get in trouble that way. So you're feeling this time crunch. Yeah. Also,
the entire game is essentially on a timer. Even though the loading screen says "take your time."
Yeah, take your time.
I love that.
But you could actually, if you miss these dates, you could fail the game.
Game over.
Yeah, much like in the real world, I try and work a job as little as possible in this game. Only do when I need to.
Yep.
For certain social benefits.
This is another aspect of the game that I find to be a little disappointing. And I know this happens in like all Shin Megami Tensei games. If you don't do a certain thing before a certain amount of time, or you don't achieve something within a dialogue choice or whatever, you just miss out on like 10 more hours of content.
Yeah.
And if you've already played this for 90 hours and you just figured out that you fucked up and you didn't get the quote unquote true ending, it's extremely disheartening.
Use multiple save files.
I know Sakurai is a huge Persona fan, and he found out that he did not max out Yusuke early enough before the end game, and he tried to go back and he couldn't do it.
Yep.
And broke little Sakurai's heart.
Oh.
Because he only has 1 hour a year to play games because he's making them so much. So that is heartbreaking for him.
That is actually terrible.
At this point, he's just busy being like, I mean, are there other video game characters we can throw in this shit?
We have literally everybody. We got Booger Man in here.
That guy from Clay Fighters, the snowman.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Frosty.
I'm still mind blown that they did the Minecraft guy.
Oh, I knew that was coming. But the weird choice was actually Joker from last season because there's no fucking. I was hoping.
Hype. Not at the time.
If they had put that on Switch, it would have been my favorite Switch game.
Persona 5?
Persona 5, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Like, that is the way that you want to play that game. It's not sitting in front of a television.
Yeah.
You want to do it while you're laying in bed. Like,
on the bus.
Anywhere. Like, it's such a long game. Most people, well, that's why Atlas is so popular. They published a lot of stuff on the 3DS. So there were people who were like, without games like this, my commute would be an absolute bore fest. And that's what it is. Like, basically, they're giving you, every time they release a game, it's, oh, here's another War and Peace.
Yeah.
Have fun. Like, I don't know.
You want to make sure you always have a book in your backpack when you're going around.
Yeah. Important.
It's true.
Heaven forbid you might get an opportunity to grab a seat on the train.
On the subway, yeah.
Some other ways of passing time: retro gaming, studying, reading books, going to the movies, batting cages, doing laundry, the crane game, fishing, darts, billiards, or you can meditate.
The spa.
I don't know if you guys looked into these, but seriously, they put so much time and effort into each one of them. The video game, the retro video games that you get to play. Like my personal favorite was the Neo Featherman game because it was a tiny JRPG story inside of a JRPG story, right, cool. And I was just like, I love this, and it was just like some basic inputs, and you can get a cheap book eventually that makes it super easy to do. But they put a delicious
love and care,
adorable story, and that's top to bottom with P5 is just love and care.
I studied film in college. I'm a huge film fan. And the fact that I can go to the movies and watch The Cake Night Rises and there's like Batman dialogue about cakes. I love it so much.
Doesn't matter how many times you see it, man.
You want to know why I use pies? Cakes are too quick. You can't savor all the little taste sensations. You see, when forced to choose cake or pie, people show you their true taste.
So the way, when you said that, one of the things that does stand out about this game, and I'm not sure where it is on your list there, Brad, but I really wanted to talk about the UI and how dynamic and beautiful it is.
Yeah,
If people don't know, I've been doing more art recently, and the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, what a marvelous, like, it looks like a manga. It looks exactly like a manga.
And by the way, go to Instagram, follow Demons Draw Dylan.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm putting more stuff up. A lot of it's older stuff, but I put some new stuff in there too.
Yeah, the UI. Like, how many times have we ever talked about, wow, that UI in that game sure is fucking
Those
banger.
menus were sexy, huh?
That was crazy. But
it's fucking
this
snappy.
game makes you look at it and like, wow, this is really well done.
I mean, literally up until the casino palace, there is something on screen moving the entire game. The entire game.
Yep. And then they do this great thing where it will literally, like in anime, it will pop in like sideways, and you'll see a character react to something like an actual animation, and then it'll slide back, and you're back in the game. The best way I can describe it is pure dynamicism, if that's a word.
The way that Joker, every time you go to the menu, he like turns around and slaps the menu on the screen.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
It's just
That's
style.
so sick.
It's just raw style.
It makes everything feel kinetic, and I have studied animation, so it like. If you can keep people this visually just like what oh you're going like it's like a Miyazaki film in that way.
I think that I read that they even pushed it a little too far, and they're like, it's a little too much.
Too busy?
It's a little
For
too
some
busy.
people it is.
So they pulled it back a little bit.
Isn't that just raw Phantom Thieves style though? Like
I-
too much, over the top. That's what we
I thought
do.
It was very bold. I love the choice. Yeah.
Hey, can't we get some music going? This thing got a radio?
Great point, Ryuji, because the music is also very important to this game.
Ryuji's really on point tonight.
He is.
killing
It's
it.
almost like he's edited to be saying the perfect stuff.
Wow.
More like you're starting to look like a dominatrix.
Well, one of the crazy things about these games too is that they're released so sparingly that like the settings and what the characters have is completely different. It just shows how technology has changed. Like even going from 4 to 5, in 4 you maybe had like a basic ass cell phone, like a flip phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's to this where everyone's got a smartphone and everyone knows what the hell they're doing about it. And then you go to 3. I mean, like,
No,
did they have cell phones?
You talk to your friends. Like
you were in you're like in a boarding school anyway.
they come up and talk to you at lunch, and that's how you make plans with them.
Yep.
And I mean that happens.
When Lady On's like, hey, you want to hang out after school? I'm like, I just canceled every other plan I got right now.
Yeah, I get that.
I already told Ryuji I was hanging out with him. I'm coming to see you on. Right.
I can't wait to hear you talk about how much you hate being a model.
Yeah.
Please just let me listen.
There. You're still pretty. There. But back to Ryuji's point about music. This game has one of the most banging soundtracks of like acid jazz, Japanese fusion.
It's all bops.
I think this was my reasoning to have you play the game. Every time I'd come over and you'd be like, let's listen to my Skyrim vinyl that I just got, or my Celeste vinyl that I just got. And I'm like, where's your Persona 5 vinyl, dude? Because that's what I want to hear right
They're
now.
only $250 for ones now until they re-release it. Because they did one run, but it's fucking spendy now. I'm so pissed because I told you at the Midwest Gaming Classic, like there's a P5 thing over there. You like that, and you didn't buy it.
I did not. But I remember talking to you about the music.
But Royal is going to release a record, and that's going to have "I Believe" on it, and
all of it,
like all the new songs.
They mentioned they're going to re-release the 5 LP, and I'm going to pick it up.
I will say, for me, the music is the best part of the game.
I mean, I listen to it in my day to day, so
I don't own many video game soundtracks, or actually listen to many video game soundtracks on their own, where I'm like, oh yeah, today's a Persona day. But this is probably the first and only one that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go fucking running, so it's gonna be some Persona time.
I was gonna say I was actually talking to Lame Dog Dad on Instagram actually, because it's Australia. They're up. Well, I'm supposed to be in bed sleeping, and we were talking, and I said, man, I am a podcast gamer. I know you are too, Tom. And it's literally just like, if your music has to be so good in order for me to actually just, especially a long game, to just sit with it and absorb it for that amount of time.
Yeah.
And this is one of those where, I mean, the battle theme can kind of eventually you're just like in your head going,
That was a very interesting choice, and I think they mostly nailed it.
Yeah.
I mean,
because beforehand I had
to
mentioned
put lyrics into a battle theme you're going to hear for 120 hours.
But
That
Lynn
takes
is
cojones.
incredible.
Yes.
Lynn, the singer, is so talented. Like,
and let's listen to the battle theme song right now.
Listen to us sing it.
I don't want to stick around for that concert.
We'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some more beers. Ryuji, you need anything?
I need a drink.
Try to run me through, hold on, think again. Don't you know what you're starting? You sure we got the clue how that this we go? Don't you know?
Two of the other main gameplay aspects are the turn-based RPG and dungeon crawling. The dungeon crawling I don't think will take too long to kind of go over the crux since we already described mind palaces, but
as well as mementos, really.
some of the core ideas, though, you have a certain amount of time to go in and find this treasure. There are safe rooms. Eventually, you go so far, you're allowed to save there. They frame it as you need to get further in there every time you go in. Eventually, what I wound up doing is, if possible, do the whole palace as far as you can in one go. Some of the palaces have multiple stops that you have to go this far and go out, but
So this is where I fucked my first playthrough.
you're just taking your time enjoying it.
Yeah, I would go in, I'd run out of SP and be like, oh, what do I do now? And so I'd leave and then go back the next day, and then I'd go to Mementos, and then I'd do that. So I rarely did any confidant shit, and that's probably the ultimate reason I put 142 hours and 37 minutes into my first playthrough, was because I didn't realize it until I got to the bank vault, where I probably didn't run out of SP, because at that point you have 4 extra characters that jump into your party.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh man, this game's way easier if you just do a palace in one day.
Yep.
And then you have all that other time where you can take your time
To go and hang out with
yeah.
Yep.
That definitely was
Just on.
Yeah.
just on.
You guys know that there's other confidants besides On?
Wait, what?
I read about it. I didn't try to.
There's only one girl for me. We all know it.
And she introduced the podcast. Did you know that Jeremy Lee, besides being a Wisconsin girl, she's also the voice of the main female character for Cyberpunk?
Oh, for real?
Really?
Interesting.
She's
For real?
that. She's also for real. She's also the voice of A2 and Nier Automata.
Yeah.
I did know
okay.
that.
Yep. So
did know
Jeremy
that.
is officially our favorite gal in video game history.
We got to get her on the podcast.
I've reached out.
Yeah.
We got her to do an intro. I think we'll count that as a win.
All right. That counts. Yep.
So yeah, dungeon crawling. There's also this mechanic of security level, which literally never affected me, where the security level will rise if you get caught eventually. I mean, you're taught how to ambush enemies, and it's super fucking easy,
Yeah.
so you never get into trouble.
When you're in cover, you literally can't be seen.
Even if they're
even
right
on the
next-
highest
yeah.
difficulty, even on the the stealth mechanic of the game is not a stealth mechanic so much as it is a safe button.
Yeah, it's a stylized kind of easy mode.
Yes.
I just got the ability to, even if they're coming at you, do a backflip and then you can come at them.
Yep.
So that's a thing from Royal that the gymnast girl gives you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
and
I remember that
it
mechanic.
just makes it so easy, because I used to have to run away and then
Yeah.
turn around and kind of slap them, but now you just flip away and then come right back.
Plus, you can also ambush enemies eventually from down the hallway because
there's
she lets
more
you
to
just
come.
whip closer.
Yep.
Oh, really?
You get to use your grappling hook.
Is the grappling hook new?
yes.
Okay, because
Yeah,
I
from
don't
Royal,
remember
yes.
it from
Yeah.
the original.
I thought it was in the original.
No.
Yeah, I thought so too.
No, I think some
There-
aspects of it, but I think some of the functionality might be different.
Okay.
It was always cinematic. I
When you
don't
got
know
to a
it-
special, you got an icon where you could use it
Yeah,
or
I
something.
don't know if it was honestly.
I think
I don't remember it, because
I
right
seem
when
to
I
recall it.
right when I started, one of the first things you do when you're in the casino at that you just straight up go up, and I was like,
It's
whoa, I
gotta
don't
be-
remember
yeah,
that at all.
Yeah, I'm
gotta
with
be in the
Dylan.
first
I remember.
I think you're just getting that from Smash.
I
even
barely,
play
I
Smash.
barely touched. I
Bionic
bought that
Commando.
first expansion. I barely fucking played it. I've never used Joker in Smash. I literally haven't touched him.
And
Yeah.
we
He's very
briefly
good, but he's not that good.
we briefly mentioned about treasures, which essentially these dastardly evil people. Once you send them a calling card in the real world, which essentially just says, yo, the Phantom Thieves are coming for your shit.
Yeah.
And then they get scared and a treasure becomes manifested in their mind palace.
Yeah, the best song in the game plays.
And it's great because also you're warned stealing the treasure the first time Mona's like, it might kill him a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there's this discussion they have, and they're like, well,
We're not
we
sure.
we agree Kamoshida's kind of a dick, but do we want to kill the guy? And then after some things that happen, you're like, we
Right.
want to kill the guy if it happens.
So you
I literally like they give you a voice option on it of like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, you know what? This guy I don't care. Like
He needs this to happen to him.
Right.
Like this needs to stop one way or another. I'm willing to take. I'm willing to bloody my hands.
And no matter what happens, you always are going to fight a boss, which they make it sound like you don't need to. It's possible to get the treasure and get out, but you will have to fight a boss eventually.
Yeah.
The Mind Palace collapses, and that's kind of what's going on in dungeons. There's also the personas you run into,
Yeah.
but
and you escape, and then said people have a cutscene where they change their mind or repent for their.
they admit
sins.
that they pooped their pants on TV.
Yes.
Yeah, we've all been there. And then, of course, the turn-based RPG. Now, originally they were thinking about making this into an action game. They had considered it for a while. They backed away from that, I think, as a wise choice.
yes,
Very wise choice.
Would like to see it though.
you will.
That's their concept.
It's coming
Are
out
you
in a
gonna?
month.
Yeah. Are you going to play Scramble?
Is it Strikers or Scramble?
It's Strikers in
for
America.
the West.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
Strike-
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. Persona
I've been
5 Strikers is
I've
what
been
they're calling
following
it
this
here.
for too long.
There's going to be an over easy difficulty though.
Yeah,
Have you played Doki Doki Panic?
Egg joke. I like.
I
that.
want to.
I think that's why they probably changed it from Scramble to Strikers, because too many people would be like, eggs?
Hard boiled.
Well, I keep thinking like soccer game because
Right.
back in the
and
day it was
that
always
might also
like
be
Mega
a-
Man Strikers,
yeah. Which they need to bring back Mario Strikers.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
That was a good
Please.
soccer game.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite Mario
maybe
games.
some crossover.
Honestly.
Speaking of Mario Strikers, it's a pretty classic turn-based RPG. At the start, you have attack, guard, item, persona, and gun. Those are the two really unique ones. You can begin. Each character can use their gun one time in the battle. Some have more ammo and less accuracy, and essentially, you're always just using model guns, but if you believe in them, the personas think they're real inside of there, or the shadows do.
Just like
technically
real
they're
life.
airsoft.
Are they airsoft?
They're model
Yeah.
guns, yes. And also, this is another quality of life improvement moving from 5 to Royal is that they changed the way the gun mechanic worked. You used to just have a limited amount of ammo that you would go into a palace with, and that was it.
Gross.
Yeah.
And then with Royal, yeah, so you literally what I would do with my guns was I would save one bullet to down somebody if I needed to, and that was the only time I used it in P5.
If they had a weakness to gun, you shot the gun
Yes.
once and moved.
And
on.
they went down, yeah.
In Persona 5 Royal, they changed it to every time you go into battle, your ammo is replenished.
Oh, that makes the game easy.
Well,
you guys
but
are playing this shit
it's only like
baby
4
mode.
bullets.
You can
I-
also
I-
turn it up to merciless, and it is not
That's
baby
okay.
mode.
I didn't
I
really
mean-
like the gunplay outside of like the required mechanics of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Honestly, a full round of the gun though didn't do more than a regular attack would.
Right.
It's just that if there was something that was weak,
It's exploitation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
To disable them or whatever they've called
it
it.
To knock
just-
them down so you can all do your gang up attacks.
and honestly, unless there was a weakness, I didn't really use the gun because attack was a little faster anyways, and it didn't really make a difference depending on who you're fighting.
Yeah.
Persona, of course, is the magic system. Every character has one persona except Joker, and then you find out later Goro, Akechi-kun, as they say. I've learned a few things about Kuns and Chans, and
Really?
Yep.
yeah, a little bit.
Welcome.
I would like
Welcome,
to think we're
senpai.
all sans to each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can
Yes,
you
senpai.
can call me by my first name.
I was gonna say you can also just drop the honorific with me, but
I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember your last name, so
Spinali.
Schmamanik.
Schmamanik-san.
Schmamanik-san. Wait, no. What was your code name? Just like I forgot every code name in the game because I only thought of them.
Little John.
Little John.
Yeah! Okay!
You never see it coming. Was Baton Pass a thing in the original P5?
Yes.
It was, but you needed to unlock the first level of Confidant to get it.
Yeah.
I don't think it gave you the level up every time you bounced around.
It also didn't increase power as you bounced it around.
I think you could just like
Because by the time
switch over and weaken somebody. That way you could do your all-out attack. But in this one, you baton pass and it raises their attack point.
it can raise attack points, it can raise restore SP, HP, and in Royal, which you probably haven't gotten there, I didn't realize until a little bit later on by playing the darts game.
Right, I was just about to say anything that you get by playing billiards or darts wasn't in the original Persona 5.
So you have to play darts with your different confidants, and then you can increase their baton pass ranking. So you'll get more of a bonus for a baton pass to Ryuji if you played darts with Ryuji. And
that's cool.
Akechi is this fucking dickhead who's like, I only play 7-on-1. Can I play 3-on-1? No. Fuck you.
What?
Dude, Akechi's just
Let's play cricket, motherfucker. Come on.
You're left-handed. I saw it.
Akechi is
I just got to that part last night.
Yeah.
They really did make Akechi a much better character in Royal, though.
I did not care for his last semester turn, though.
Oh, really? I loved it.
No, he was a little too unhinged for me.
That part rules to me.
I adored it.
Then because you watched the Royal stuff, the new semester today, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he turns into almost a different character because he's full on like, you know who I am, fuck you.
Well, they're the only ones. They're the only ones. Okay, yeah. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
Poor Dom.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really interesting his arc within the first section. Mm-hmm. I liked that a lot.
I love spending time with his character.
Actually, I found him actually likable at first, and they did a good job of pulling me into him.
I hated listening to Ryuji talk about track the whole time.
I've been doing that, but now people are saying I look like even more of an asshole than before.
Thank you, Ryuji.
Yeah, honestly,
You're right, Ryuji. You're right.
Yeah, his confidant dynamic I found to be extremely boring. But he has the most interesting mask, I think. It's that skull one.
That's great.
And then he's got Captain Kidd as his fucking
The first time I
persona.
saw the pirate ship with a dude like skateboarding on it or surfing on it, I was like, that's pretty cool, man.
What's
I think
up, Persona?
I even texted you. I think I'm like, dude, he's right. Like he's surfing on a pirate ship.
Yeah. I find like first of all, I'm a big pirates guy. I really like the history of piracy,
Yo-ho.
especially on the Atlantic. And
Napster.
I was super just like, oh shit, yeah, all right. I would probably have that as my persona.
I also do love his level up eventually of just Sun Wukong.
Yeah.
That also is absolutely delightful to me because it makes so much sense for Ryuji's character. Mona teasing him about being a stupid monkey and stuff like that. I was just like, ooh.
I was pretty mad at the way Mona talked to him. Nick, could you describe the hold-up and negotiation system for the battles?
So this is actually something that got reintroduced from the Persona 1 and 2 games.
This wasn't in 3 and 4. Okay.
No, so the way that you used to get Persona in 3 and 4 was a shuffle system where at the end of battles, you would get dealt out cards and you could pick out cards. And depending on whether or not you swept the last game, certain cards would give you more draws, certain cards would take away cards from you and stuff like that. But when you would clear the deck, you would then get more selections for the next shuffle system. It was entertaining.
So there's like a fairy persona who it says like vulnerable, and you have to talk a certain way to this persona to negotiate with them.
So this is the negotiation thing that actually was reintroduced from 1 and 2. Basically, they have a couple of different personality types. There's like aggressive. There was like jovial or something like that, I think, and there was like meek or something like that.
Yeah.
And basically, you would get 3 options, and you had to kind of try and choose.
They were confusing to me sometimes.
They were very confusing often.
They didn't make sense.
There weren't a lot of tells on what you need to select.
Don't you think movies are weird? And it says that they're vulnerable. I'm like, yeah, sometimes. They're like, fuck you. I'm leaving now.
Here's an odd morsel.
Yeah.
Is Mona's commentary during the negotiations a new thing for Royal? Because I don't remember that being there.
Yes, it is.
She jumps in. I did it again. He jumps in and will say like,
at least you didn't call him a cat.
Right. He jumps in and goes, ooh, this person's pretty angry. Go easy on him.
Yeah.
And so you like can pick which one that would be.
He does a little bit more of a tell.
Before that, in the
was
original,
nothing.
it was just like straight up. You just had 3 options.
It seemed like random.
It would say in the top right corner what they were. But beyond that, that was it.
But there were so many times I would pick the one like, okay, this is like the least offensive or whatever, you know, and it would just be like, no, you're dumb. And
I'm a demon on a toilet, and I don't like you.
In the Shin Megami Tensei series, it is absolutely so difficult to recruit demons.
Yes.
Because it's half randomized. So like there will be characters with where you think that being nice to them would like get them on your side.
But same mechanic though, where you have to
you have to recruit your demons, and it's literally like Dragon Quest style. You get your 3 demons in a party. It's not you who's actually fighting. It's literally just the demons themselves.
Okay.
So this is the mainline Shin Megami Tensei
Yes,
games.
correct. Yeah, and it's so weird. You would think that you were recruiting someone, and you're like, yes, we got it, but you have to answer like, was it still 3 questions in a row that you have to answer?
No, for Persona, it's just 1.
And in Tensei, if I'm remembering correctly, don't like execute me for it, but like.
Tweet at Hot Dog Cast.
I believe
Mitsuru is coming for you.
I believe you had to answer like 3 questions in a row, and if one of them ticked them off, they would just run away.
Yeah.
Awful.
And so there's also another thing that was introduced into Royal. I believe they didn't have Showtime attacks, like the combo attacks.
Incredible.
They're very fun. Like
Candy for your eyes.
Yeah.
How would Yusuke and Ryuji combo together?
Oh my god, I love that. That one's one of my favorites, honestly.
And I love watching the An and Mona team up too.
That one
the
is
jiggle
my
physics
least
alone.
favorite.
I have that one, and then the Ryuji Makoto.
You'll get them all, and they're all very fun. And then Joker and Akechi has a good one too.
Damn, I'm gonna have to play it again.
This mechanic in itself is very helpful because, like last night, I was playing Kanashiro's Palace, and I got to the bit where he's riding a massive piggy bank as a fly.
What a great thing, like a piggy bank.
Yes. And then they joined forces to do a Showtime and knocked like 1,000 hit points off of him. And I was like, well, that just made that a lot easier.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But it's all like randomized, and the specific mechanic is actually tailored towards they will do it when you're closer to dire straits, which I do like that it's kind of in the writing of the anime of the game where it's like, oh, dire straits, these people are about to do something awesome. Like it fits with how the game feels.
And if you get those confidants up enough, let's say you get a negative status effect, the battle might just stop and let them like heal you.
Yep.
And eventually it started feeling a little, you're making it too easy for me.
To an autopilot battles.
Because the fact that I only ran into one battle that was tough, and one time I let Joker die because I didn't know it was a game over type scenario, was pretty much the only time I ever felt threatened. Except in some of the challenge battles in the Velvet Room, there was some problems, but those are designed to fuck you up.
What did you play on? Just out of curiosity, and zero judgment. This is
Not
judgment-free zone.
Because Merciless or like Extreme is unlocked on the last one. I usually go for like normal mode, like whatever is kind of the recommended first round.
Yeah. And this is your first Persona game, so why wouldn't you?
Really?
Yeah, you pussy.
Really, if I'm going to do a 100-hour game, I should just Google what should a seasoned JRPG person play on. But I don't want to get punished if it.
I play normal.
Yeah,
I play
do
on normal
too.
every time. Anytime a game recommends normal,
This is how the devs wanted it to be.
Yeah, this is the blank. This is like the solid state of this matter. It is exactly what they were intending.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just switching numbers around and to go up or down. That's pretty much all it is in an RPG.
I wish that more studios did what like Bungie did for the Halo games, where they say, heroic, this is the way the game was meant to be played. Play this first if you're looking for a good challenge, and then play legendary afterwards. But they say heroic is how we want it to be played.
Right.
And I wish more studios would say like, not normal,
Hard,
like it's pretty
yeah.
easy. Easy's like if you want to be there for the story.
So-
but I wish it would just say we designed it kind of around this difficulty.
Especially for Persona 5, I recommend if you're a JRPG player, you understand these mechanics, you don't have to learn any of that type of stuff. I think hard is actually a really good jumping point because it like you said, it just boosts up the numbers and it gives bosses enough time to use their special attacks on you and stuff like that.
You can actually see them.
And like all those things. And like I have played regularly on Merciless because once I got to New Game Plus, it was just like, all right, let's go. I played Royal on Merciless the first playthrough just because it was like I know what I'm getting myself into, sort of.
You know, literally, once I'm done with this, I'm going home and I'm downloading 4 off of Steam.
Dude, it's so good. Please enjoy
This is
it.
Persona 5 Christmas.
We're doing Persona 5 or Persona 4 Easter.
It's a very Persona Christmas, is what I was
Persona's the reason for the season.
I want to play as my glasses children.
A very Persona 2 Eternal Punishment Labor Day.
Yo, I will play that game.
I mean, straight up.
If that challenge is issued.
Now, hold on, because I'm amongst all of the waifus I could have had, Chie. I love Chie from 4.
Moving forward.
Not Nato, man.
So that we pretty much covered like very broad the concepts and the mechanics. Now we can just gush about story beats and characters. We are almost through with this first episode, but let's talk about the opening. We're in a casino. We don't know what's going on. There's a character wearing a mask
There's
and
a banger playing.
There's a banger playing. You're seeing all these characters you don't know, like, chiming in. I remember the art style for the very first, that opening. You're going down hallways, and it's like a million calling cards. And I remember being very confused. I didn't know that you were in, like, a metaphysical place, because I'm like, who would actually, like, design a wall like this?
Did you notice the splashing right away?
I'm not sure if I did.
When you were running? Yeah, that was one of the first things that I noticed, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm on cement. Why am I splashing blood out of my feet?
I didn't, because this was the first one I'd played, I was just like, maybe that's what it is.
Crazy Japanese RPG. All right.
And then they do this really great thing where your character ultimately gets caught. If you're playing Royal, you'll notice that Kasumi shows up and calls you senpai, and you're like, "Oh my god, I'm a senpai."
She hooked me in one go for Royal. I will say that.
They do this really great framing device though for a good part of the game where you are being interrogated by a sexy lady. You find out later her name is Sei Nijima.
Yep.
You don't know what's going on other than there is this great framing device where, so you went to school and then you just talk about how you banged a teacher and she's like, this isn't what I asked you. He's like, this is important. She was in a maid outfit. Flashback.
Yeah.
Started at the beginning. It's a literal How I Met Your Mother.
I thought that framing device is really good. I like games that kind of start and are told in flashback.
It's in media res.
And I love when it, because in media res where it's like in True Detective where the entire thing has been in a framing device for like 2/3 of the season or the game, and then all of a sudden you move past that framing device.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's effective.
I love that technique so much.
And the way, we'll get to it eventually, but the way that they cap that moment is really good. It's fun. It's intense. It's one of those like moments.
So our main character, we call him Joker because you actually have to put in the name Bradley Ward, and that's what I think most people probably play as.
I did.
I was surprised in the anime.
I did in 2017. I didn't even fucking know you. Such a common name.
I'm gonna name it after that shitty bartender.
Yeah, I don't even think I had gone to Mobcraft at that point.
Hopefully not. So I was surprised to learn in the anime and in Dancing in Starlight that they refer to Joker as Ren Amamiya, or Amamiya, I want to say.
Some people
it almost
like to
sounds
call him-
Italian.
I'm a Mia.
Here I go again.
I don't know if you watched any of the anime, but
I've heard it's disappointing.
It's really bad.
it's not great, but I will say that Ryuji's nickname for Joker is great. It's just Ren Ren, and it's adorable.
I know, right?
I
Get the Japanese actors.
and in the manga, he's known as Akira Kurusu.
a lot of people still
Yeah.
refer to him as
Akira.
Akira.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you learn after this, like that opening in media res framing device, you see that you are falsely accused of assault while defending a young woman. I wonder if this guy is going to be a big villain later on.
Yep.
And
He has something to do with it.
yeah, the setting,
Maybe.
modern day Tokyo. You go to Cafe LeBlanc,
Ugh.
which Maurice LeBlanc wrote. What was it?
Arsene.
Yeah, wrote Arsene.
Yes.
Arsene? Arsene.
Also, it's LeBlanc. I'm sorry. I have to correct.
We?
You're so you're so French.
Dude,
Yeah.
you're so cultured.
It's. I just read the books.
God, what an asshole.
Let's.
Books.
What do you
Sorry.
guys?
Cast.
My pinky is so high up right now.
Drinking that Miller Lite with your pinky flame.
I was playing the Neo Featherman game. I didn't read any of the books. Thank you. You meet this character named Sojiro, and he lets you know very quickly he doesn't think too much of you.
Coffee Dad.
I want you to know I think you're a criminal.
You suck. This is your room.
Keep your head down.
Sleep here.
The representation of how you are treated if you have a criminal background actually, like in Japan, is actually pretty good because no matter what, if you have a record there, it is like a black mark. Like you've been branded and you don't move past that.
Yeah, it's if you're caught with drugs there, it is an extensive fine and many years in jail. More than us.
You get taken out of video games if you get caught doing drugs.
Fucking crazy.
You get taken out of video games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Judgment, part of the Yakuza series, or kind of like a spin-off.
Yeah.
The main villain of that game got caught on drug charges, and Sega completely remodeled his likeness and
I see them
yanked him out
Here's the thing
with
though.
another actor.
Even in like weird media stuff, I see them smoking dope all the goddamn time. Like, whatever. It's the same way. Brad and I couldn't be let into a bathhouse because we have tattoos. We literally couldn't go to any public
And
bath.
we'd just be like, we're Yakuza.
Yeah, I mean, look at
Look at me and Dylan. Do you not think we're Yakuza? Or mongoose, moose. What was your horse? You were horse.
I'm horse.
Horse and Jar Jar Binks. You're not letting us in. Yeah. So you meet Sojiro and you get to stay in this coffee shop. Which fuck yeah, you get to live above a coffee shop. That sounds like
sick. I
a
want
major
life.
cool hookup.
I imagine
If any-
your parents paid in advance for the whole entire year.
I was pretty
Just to
bummed.
get rid of you.
I had such a desire when Mona said, "You can't go fucking out." I'm like, "I'll clean my room," and they're like, "No, you can't clean it yet. You can't move this around yet." I'm like, "I want to. I'm stuck here." Nope. But eventually, you get to pimp it out a little bit. One of your first nights in bed, you're on your phone and you find this weird smartphone app, and you get transported to the Velvet Room, and you meet Igor and Caroline and Justine.
Justine.
Yes.
There's always a weird assistant.
Yeah,
Yes.
those two are named after Frankenstein characters. They're named after the Frankenstein book. I'm not sure if they were like not main characters in that because I've read the book, but
yes, master.
you find out later that they are like two split aspects of another character named Lorenza.
Lavenza.
Yes. See, that's why you're here.
She's the butterfly that like bonds you with all of your confidants. Is that right?
That sounds right.
The butterfly is weird. Yeah, yes. Is
We got
the
to that
short
part. I
answer.
thought the game jumped the shark a little bit.
So the butterfly actually represents the thing that made Igor. His name is Philemon. He's from all of the rest of the Shin Megami Tensei games. He's basically a god who is gambling with whether or not people are good or not, and whether or not they deserve to exist, which is the basis of all of these games. But yeah, long story short, yes, she is a fragment of his power, and that's where the butterfly comes in.
Okay.
So before we go to our first day of school, which will be the beginning of our next episode, this is the Christmas special, and Christmas is a day that happens in Persona, but it doesn't happen the way we'd like it. So I'm going to ask the question of each of you. If you could spend a day in Persona any way you wanted, your Christmas day, how would you spend it?
I don't know, probably macking on my girlfriend in the game.
What would you and Makoto do?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. She's kind of like too smart for me, and that's what I like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe
Take her to the arcade,
Yeah, I
get
was
her
about
out of
to
her
say.
environment or something?
I would take her.
challenge her.
I would take her somewhere both of us have never been, and if it ends up to be kind of a lark and like kind of stupid, it's a fun thing to laugh about, and it's a shared experience, something like that. I would take her to a really weird restaurant.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyone else got anything right away?
I would probably go to, I know it's not in the game, at least not yet for me. I don't know. But I would probably go to take the waifu to the zoo during the day.
Oh.
And then possibly the movie theater at night.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Movies
and
at
then-
Christmas. They're just
yeah.
something special.
Yeah.
Which movie are you hoping's playing?
Wonder Woman 1984.
I love it.
Oh, I thought you
I love
wanted
it.
to see
I love
Jim
it.
Carrey's The Christmas Carol.
I thought you wanted
directed
to see.
Robert Zemeckis.
Is it Zemeckis? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I was
Zemeckis.
expecting Jim Carrey's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Or The Grinch. It's
That's a Valentine's
No, Sonic the
Day
Hedgehog is
movie.
that's a Valentine's Day movie.
Deuce Bigelow.
Christmas Gigolo. It's the new one.
I consider it James Marston's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Tom, what do you got?
I would go wherever Dylan was with Makoto
There'd be an awkward
and
double
be like,
date.
"What the fuck? You're my waifu. What do you? It's Christmas."
You'd be mad at Makoto for being with Dylan?
I would, and then I would.
And I'd be like, you're closing a scene.
I'll see you later, Tom.
Right.
Tom, we'll develop our social links later. Right now,
I mean,
I'm
it's
with
like
my
I'm not smart enough to date you. I have to go fucking date on because I have no other recourse. So. One day.
She would be impressed with my my knowledge on UFOs and ghosts.
It's true. I like her motorcycle though.
Yeah, you take her for a ride.
Like, Johanna. I'm just saying. I'm I'm a cowboy and I'm a Makoto's steel horse. I want to ride.
Hey.
There's a reason she's called Queen. Yas Queen.
Yas, Queen.
Yes.
Nick, what do you got?
So this is me.
This is
in,
if you
in
were
Tokyo
there on Christmas
in
Day.
Persona.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'm sorry, but I gotta take Anne for probably to the Wilton Buffet, and then hopefully get out of there soon enough to grab a quick cup of coffee at LeBlanc.
Ooh,
Wow,
I
you've
like
really
that.
thought about
Yeah,
this.
it's like, let's go to my house for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's sick.
That's good.
Oh, I see that was the question.
Oh,
Am
but
I-
you
am
like
I, am I
you
Joker
are, you
or
are,
Nick?
you are Joker.
Oh yeah, same answer.
Same answer. Yeah.
Something. This is. Yeah. Okay.
What about
The
you,
ending,
Bradley?
the ending's just different, you know.
I would want to maybe go to like Destiny Land with everybody and spend a little time with everyone, or maybe go to the beach. Definitely want to go somewhere private with On. Maybe go see the Cake Night Rises, and then after that, we'd grab a drink from Lala-chan, where the bar where Oya hangs out at.
Not at the
Hey, Brad, do you want your usual craft beer?
And after that,
young once.
and after that, I would respect her all night long.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Not Lala too. Sure. Fuck it. Yeah. Do you guys want to talk anything Christmas before we wrap this episode up?
Peace on where earth, goodwill towards men.
Happy holidays.
This year's almost
We
done.
all love
Thank
Yeah.
God. You know?
honestly,
If you can, get close to your family, but not too close.
well, I don't know. I've seen some things on the internet.
I don't want to know.
Sometimes my cat Pickles looks at me like Mona looks at Ryuji.
Yeah.
So give your cats extra space, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a weird year.
It sure has, Brad.
We're getting through it though. It's almost over.
This podcast has certainly helped me get through the year. That's for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah, and this podcast is the reason I played Persona 5. So I'm very thankful about that.
Well, I mean, I can keep dishing out the hits.
Hades is going to be getting played sometime soon.
You have to, because I cannot just blab about this shit. It's $24. Come on, man.
I think it's 20 right now.
It was down to 20 for a while, yeah.
What's the hour count on it
For me,
for average?
so beating it isn't really like beating it.
Okay.
But to beat it, it took me 25 hours.
Oh.
Isn't it like you die and then the whole game starts over?
Kinda. You have to go through it all again, but you get little upgrades as
Yeah.
you move along each time. And you get
done really
weapons and you get. Have you played it, Tom?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah. You mentioned it last time. Yep. Yeah, I totally forgot. That's we'll be doing our game of the year list next time on the Hair of the Dog cast proper.
Yeah, so if you're not a Patreon supporter, next week we'll be doing, you'll hear the year's summary, our New Year's resolutions, how they all went, and we'll be discussing kind of what happened over the year, right, Tom?
Yeah, it'll be our best of 2020. We'll do the New Year's resolutions the following one. But yeah, it's basically all our favorites and maybe not so favorites of 2020. And you
Literally
won't wanna
the
miss
best
it.
year. This year was great.
You know,
It was the best year.
not a great year overall, but for video games, not a bad year.
Hey, this year I got engaged and I met An Takamaki, so pretty good year.
You're doing okay.
Man, everything you say sounds like a poem.
Congratulations, Brad.
And if you want access to our Persona 5 Part 2, where all we do is going to be talking about Kamoshida's pink thong and all of the story beats, we're going to be just discussing the story and gushing about mind palaces and waifus and characters and how Ryuji is actually the best character in the game.
I do.
For real?
That is wrong, Ryuji.
I do love
No.
Ryuji.
Well, we'll talk about how Ryuji.
I find him very charming.
We'll talk about the one moment where Ryuji
his
actually
moments.
made me concerned and sad. There was a moment.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yep, and it's when he talked about his fucking track coach again. For real. Thanks for joining us, Ryuji. You've been great. Whatever. And if you want access to the next
Thanks,
episode
Brad.
for our Persona 5, you can find us on Patreon.
Bart Simpson, are you here?
Hello.
How about Al Pacino?
God damn it, that fucking Persona 5.
What a sweet ass.
Well, it's got a great ass.
Turn that down.
Sorry.
Reach out to us on Patreon. For the $3 tier, you would get access to the Persona 5 Part 2 episode. Otherwise, for all of you wonderful listeners who are supporting us, it'll be out in a couple of days. Probably pretty quick because I want to get everything done so I can go home for Christmas. And I'm actually going to show Mario Kart Live to my nieces, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be really fun.
And so you can find us on Patreon. If they want to reach out to us any other way, Dylan, how can they do that?
Wait, we already talked about Patreon.
We talked about Patreon. I'm doing the other thing.
the Patreon guy.
Yeah, if you want to do the other stuff.
I literally blank. I'm sorry. It's the ADD. It's really bad right now. Well, you can find me at Demons Draw Dylan on Instagram. I'm going to be drawing a lot more. In fact, my hands hurt from drawing. I accept commissions. Yeah. Tom is making the quote unquotes as if he's implying I jacked off.
No, not at all.
Too much.
Come on. You're making beautiful Christmas cookies.
No, see, I just
He's working on social stats
Now,
somehow.
hold on.
I don't know.
Well, I just used
Longevity.
I used two fingers.
Proficiency.
I just use two fingers, or I rub up on a couch. Jeez,
So,
Tom.
as he was saying, Facebook and Instagram, Hair of the Dogcast. We're on Twitter at Hot Dogcast. Reach out to us if you have any thoughts on Persona 5. Thanks to everybody who's listening. Part 2 of this epic podcast will be coming shortly for Patreon members. Find us on there. And us here at the Raw Dogs and the Dogcast just want to say a very Merry Christmas. I hope everyone is safe and next to the people that they love in however safe way they can, because it's weird right now. But
And play Persona with them. I think that's the best way to show your love on Christmas.
Dad, this is Persona 5.
Dad might not understand.
Dad-chan.
I want you to. So my dad didn't know I was proposing last night. I sent him a picture of me and Carly with her ring on, and no punctuation, no cap, anything. He just says the word "nice."
That's how I would react.
And all I hear is the South Park character. Nice. That's all I can hear.
Nice.
Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be right back with more Persona 5 goodness for our Patreon fans. But we love you all. So thank you.